Welcome once again to the final cut, and yes, a big surprise, we've got some indie horror on deck for you today. It's an anthology film made with by some familiar names with these shorts in A Stab at Love. Yes, A Stab at Love, where we get a collection of short indie horror and horror comedies that all kind of revolve around the theme of love, you know, desire and such of that nature. So yeah, very interesting. You'll recognize probably everybody who I mentioned here as a director. They start off with He Loves Me Not, which is directed by Tim Ritter, definitely a veteran in the underground and small budget scene. And here we have the story of a husband and wife who the wife thinks things are going hunky-dory, and yeah, her husband's acting just a little weird, but for the most part, he seems to love her until she finds out that he's being unfaithful to her, which makes her snap and go to a dark place and do dark things. What's interesting is that the husband and wife are played by Todd Martin and Trish Martin, respectively, and I think they're married, so maybe there's some catharsis going on here or exploration of what ifs, but they seem to be having fun in front of the camera, and it's got an interesting epilogue with definitely an interesting prosthetic prop. But yeah, I really enjoyed that. Thought it was a fun way to start off and lets you know what you're in for these as far as production value wise. Then we get Penance, which was directed by Tanya Atomic, who also appears in front of the camera for a very short part as a one-eyed driver of Seaward, who's a drug addict, played by Christopher Barnes. And yeah, he gets this experimental drug. Well, things don't go well. It's got some kind of side effect, a very odd side effect. And when another addict named Judy, played by Christina Pezzo, gets the drug, she discovers the stash. She now also suffers from that odd side effect, and it is going to be the cause of her death if she's not careful. Penance is definitely one of those where the theme of addiction and your love for drugs and the price you pay for it, but it's done in a very comical way because the side effect they have here involves a puppet. There's puppeteer work going on in here. The gentleman playing Seaward also is the puppeteer. I loved the angle of a puppet connected to a drug that they're having, this hallucination, or maybe not. You're not quite sure. There's a character called Hemlock, played by Jason Momoa, who I thought was hilarious. And yeah, everybody does well in here and really giving that exploration into the real world theme of addiction and your love for drugs. Then there's Hot Tub Witch, directed by Joe Sherlock. And yeah, you're familiar with Joe Sherlock's work. We've done his work here before. We reviewed it. And here, this is a lot of fun. This one probably has the most mature content in it. But it also is a very interesting story involving a hot tub and a witch and her power, especially involving a guy who is kind of two-timing two ladies. And one of the ladies, well, he's going to regret two-timing her. Marie is played by Larissa Honeytoast. I really enjoyed this witch and the angle that they took with her and her performance. She gets to be scary here towards the end of the short. And Ricky, played by Kirk Dardanis, is this guy stuck in the middle, kind of regretting his life choices. Then we get to Monster Busters, again directed by Tanya Atomic. Here we get the story of Chuck and Rowena, who have a web supernatural show where they investigate supernatural phenomenon and that. And Chuck and Rowena, in this episode that we catch up with them on, they're looking for Bat Squatch. Right? I love that concept of Bat Squatch. Yes. Chuck is played by Joseph Vogel, and Tanya Atomic is doing double duty, also being in front of the camera as Rowena. And they do it kind of a behind-the-scenes found footage type of angle, this guerrilla shooting type thing where you're getting to see them as their personas, as they're front of the camera, including Chuck using some odd, using an accent he really doesn't need to the behind-the-scenes drama where Rowena really wants to direct. So you get all of that in here and some fun back and forth. And some secrets are revealed about the show that they're doing. Janine, played by Rachel Jackson, is their camera person, the other person who gets probably the most dialogue in here. And yeah, this was fun, but I think it went a little long for me. That was my issue with it. We got the concept, we got the idea, but for me it went just a bit long. I did find it entertaining, and it does have a payoff that is worth waiting for, but I think they could have trimmed it up a little bit and still had it be a very funny horror short. And then we have Bigfoot in Love, another one that involves humor along with a couple who, these two are influencers who go out and look for cryptids and such on their YouTube channel and such. Yeah, and they come across Bigfoot, and they think they come across Bigfoot with his wife, but then something nasty and brutal happens that causes the lemmings, Wanda and Phil, who have this influencer channel that they're doing, it causes their viewership to drop. So they decide to go out a year later to the scene of where that crime was by the Bigfoot and see if they can find him again to prove it wasn't fake. And well, things take a very interesting turn, to say the least, with the Bigfoot character. Wanda Lemming's played by Kylie Jackson, and Dalen Tipton play Phil Lemming. I like the banter between these two, the two characters, their own motivations. You know, they are playing influencers, but played up a little bit. I don't know influencers who are quite like them, but they're supposed to be a bit exaggerated, add to the humor. The Bigfoots looked, they looked all right. Jeffrey Riddlington, he played Bigfoot, and then Sharon Bryant Butcher played Bigfoot's wife. And Riddlington does, I think, very well as the Bigfoot. He brings some humor. He does emoting because he's got the mask piece on, and he's talking in grunts and noises of Bigfoot. And yeah, Sharon does well too in this. You know, the only thing is their Bigfoot outfits looked a little bit more like sniper outfits than Bigfoots. They were very shaggy Bigfoots. So again, though, shot on a small budget. All of these were shot on a small budget, and they're tighter with a wraparound story that's interesting, to where each of the characters who are in the short afterwards are featured in this like 1-900 video dating site, video dating, where they're recording like their personals of what they're looking for in people and such. So that was a lot of fun, and those segments, those shorts, are hosted by Andrew Shearer, who does a great job. And if you like micro and small budget indie films and looking for a fun watch with some familiar faces in the indie scene, then you'll want to check out A Stab at Love. So thank you very much. If you've seen this anthology, let me know what you thought of it. Please like, subscribe, bells and whistles and all that here. I thank you for the view, and until next time, remember, keep that ticket stub.